You know how you don't really know what you have until you organize and then you realize you have like five green bags? That's basically been my experience. So today I wanted to do a quick what's in my bag because I see so many of these and I cannot stop myself from clicking through and just seeing all the little bits and bobs that other people have. And it's really fun. So here's my bag. This is I think they'd call it like a bowling bag from Fossil. I used to have a lot of Fossil outlets near me that actually had legitimately amazing stuff. And so this is one of the ones that I walked in. I've just, I really love Fossil. It might be mainly because of the sturdiness. You notice a lot that the zippers are always just really large, almost industrial style zippers. I can't think of a single bag I've had over the past 2 decades that had zipper problems from Fossil. The only reason I've had to get rid of Fossil bags would be like this one glorious one. I spilled kombucha and this mold stain kept coming back and back and back. I took it to a professional cleaner. I just couldn't get that bag functioning. It was so beautiful. I'll see if I can find a picture of it. But this is an example of just some beautiful classic design, this beautiful green color. It's got short straps here that just goes around my forearm or my hand, and then a long strap that's adjustable. And then sometimes I'll clip this off and put it on my smaller bag. I haven't been too into the bag charm trend. I think it's really gorgeous. I've seen some cute ones. It seems like a lot of added weight. Sometimes what I'll do, I have this little charm from Yoseka. It's a little fountain pen. I actually had it on my other Fossil bag, but it broke off. And so I might like something like that. But frankly, so much of whatever about me you could call fashion is about practicality and utility because I have two young sons and they're really active. And even if they aren't barging into me, I'm barging into different things, trying to save them or get them places or bring them snacks. So whenever I have something superfluous, it tends to get ripped off of me and shredded. And so that makes me not to use it. So if I do have a bag charm, it's going to be like very low to the ground, very purposeful. Now, that being said, I did indulge for my birthday recently and got this super cute Bagu mini bag, and I could see this being like a charm. I'm not sure like the bag on bag thing, but I did just find this so adorable, and I have loved fitting things in. It basically just holds the AirPods in here, and then I bet you could get a small wallet or some items in there like chapstick. I haven't fully explored it because I don't really go anywhere, but I look forward to exploring it. So let's start off. We've got this small double pocket up front, very practical. It's got a magnetic button that closes. There's a larger pocket right here that could probably fit your wallet or a small notebook. I have these special gloves that I absolutely love. These are Cornelia James gloves, just like a famous leather glove thing. This is probably the most indulgent thing that I own, and I have no regrets so far. It was just a really nice birthday gift to myself, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and I use them every season. They're lovely, and especially because I have on the larger side of hands, it's just really nice to know I have excellent high quality gloves that fit and protect. They're more of a lighter protection, so I wouldn't call these really heavy winter gloves. And of course, it's really lovely leather, so I don't use it if I'm going to be in a snowball fight or anything, but I keep them in there. And then this little pocket has room for a little wallet. This is a small wallet. I have a little custom winky face right there from Pop-Off Leather, which is where I get a couple of my notebook covers. And so I have room for some cash, insurance card, different things. Pretty low key. I just dug this out from my storage a minute ago. And maybe that's one of the things as I get older, I'm getting fewer pens and I'm curating what I have a bit more. I've learned if it's high quality stuff, I like to store it for a little while. And then it almost always comes back to me in maybe 6 months that I want to use it again. So that's been nice. Same for the bags. I keep them in bags in the closet. So this little bowler bag holds quite a lot, and that's why I switched over to this. I'd been using a smaller black fossil bag, and it just wasn't holding as much as I'd like. And so the main thing is that I can always travel with an A5. Often I might use my whole A5 zip up and have that handy, and so that fits in there. We went to a movie today, so I had these delicious snacks that I absolutely snuck in to the movie. And I actually had a whole bottle. We bought this there, but I had a whole blender bottle, two blender bottles that I snuck into the purse as well. So it really holds a lot. And then I've got my sketching book that I'll keep with me. Now, the other bag has a nicer pocket where I can store this. I tried to fit it in here, but it didn't quite work. I think if you have like an even smaller notebook, I think that could fit really nicely. A couple of those could fit in there, but not with the case that I have. So I bet if I took it out, that would fit just fine. I'm almost always going to have my keys, and this has my alma mater as a keychain, and then this little strap that came with a leather notebook that I bought. Usually I'll toss some AirPods in there. I'm actually going to go back in time and probably pick up some wired headphones. First, I was going to ask my husband if he had any laying around, but I realized a huge pro for those, obviously a wire is difficult, but to keep it in my work bag, because often if I leave AirPods in my work bag, if it's been a week or two and I haven't grabbed it to go, they are out of power. So to have something that doesn't need to be charged is really appealing. Inside this bag, it is just cavernous. There's so much room. It's beautiful, and it keeps its shape when it's sitting. Inside, there's one large pocket on the back, and this is usually my kids' bucket. So I'll put stuff for the kids there. I'm always going to have pens for them, and then I also keep these little books for them to draw in. So I'll draw mazes for my kid during church. He'll draw me some pirate ships, underwater scenes. The older one is a bit more about patterns. Pretty cool. But that way, these are always good to go, and I always have a couple minutes of party time for them to just chill. For a while, I also carried just a whole batch of mini markers, like a rainbow of mini markers. That got a little heavy, and I couldn't find the perfect bag to carry those in, so I haven't been doing that. But those might make a return. Mini markers in general are pretty cool. Also on the back, there are two like open pockets. I haven't quite figured out anything in there. Sometimes I'll stick my phone, maybe my passports if we need it for real ID. And I've got some mints. These are pretty good. I just found some on Amazon that had the tin because I really wanted a tin. Also, importantly, they come in cotton candy. Quite delicious. I love that they're all natural flavor and it's, clean sugar and stuff. I would say they don't like last a whole lot, so it's a bit more like candy than anything else, but that was fine at the time. Nice. And then within my bag, I keep a little pouch of essentials. So in here, I'm going to have some lens wipes for my son and my husband. They both wear glasses. A little sports stick for sunscreen. This makes me feel very mature, and I do use it a bunch. And then also some soap. Definitely after the pandemic, I started carrying around my own soap because I realized once I started being really careful about how long I was washing my hands, I would get these dry patches from all of the public bathroom soaps and stuff. So having this, it really makes a big difference. And then I've got this lemon balm. I just like healthy balms. And one thing that I had read, I forget who I heard it from, but it's like you want to check the ingredients. And the first ingredient should be a really high quality fat or oil. So like olive oil, beeswax, coconut oil, all those like really nice ones. If it's sunflower oil or vegetable oils, then it's not going to be as high a quality product. And I'm sure I've owned a whole bunch of products of different kinds. And then another thing that I've been doing, I forgot, I peeled off the label of a different and I put washi tape on it. So like I made a little fall one, and that was fun. But this one's lemon balm. A tape measure, I realized this has just come in handy a whole bunch, especially when it comes to shopping for my kids. As they grow, just every couple weeks, I'll measure their legs and make sure that I'm not going to pick out clothes and then have to return them and all this stuff. I also recently picked up a little skin food from Weleda. I love the one, you can get it at Whole Foods, but it's this metal, it's like a slightly metal tin lotion. I don't know. That's the one I like. They remade the bottle where it was in more of a plasticky thing, and I didn't like that one as much. And then also some hairpins, naturally. And then, oh yeah, my secret box. So this is something I stopped for a little while. This is a Sailor ink cartridge carrier. But what I did was turn it into an on-the-go sticker repository. So I like to have this in case I run into kids or if there's someone I just, I want to delight them. One time there was this lady who was crying and I had some rose ones, so I was able to just pass her this as a little stranger. And I feel like it's one way to make the world a bit of a nicer place if you just have stickers for friends. I often forget it's in here though, so unless I see a child or an upset person, I'm generally not going to remember this. And this bag I picked up at one of those almost like just like a little store that had fair trade goods. It was a long time ago, so maybe even 20 years ago. Other things I might sub in and out. This is really it. I might switch out the notebook sometimes. I might throw in this little to-go pen, depending on the page styles that I'm working on in my journal, because it has a teeny tiny pen. This is an Oto sharp pencil. It's a mechanical pencil, but it's so tiny. And it's really nice to just sketch. If there's anything that you're doing that you want it to turn out really well or be really careful with it, it's a nice thing to just sketch. And then I have my Acroball 1000 and then the Tombow Nesco Fuden Nosuke, the hard tip brush pen. And this is just some of the journal spreads that I'll do have more of that style. Let me find an example. I did one recently where I just do these little sketches. And so with this style, I like to have that little set that I had. And for real, that's what's in my bag. So thanks for checking it out. Oh, that's a lot of